Hello everybody! As part of our self-care series this month and into next month, I will be showing you some different bullet journal style techniques for tracking your moods or tracking your habits or both. And I'll just be giving a couple different ways that you can do it. I'm starting with this first page. There's a little bills tracker and a sleep tracker. And for the bills tracker, you just put the due date of the bills, a check if it's been paid, and then of course what bill it is. So I just gave a couple of examples here. And then when you pay it, you just check it off, and that way you don't have that moment of panic where you wonder if you paid your bills or not. We've all been there. The sleep tracker is a pretty basic version. So the way I have mine set up is that if I color in the day halfway, it means that I got less than or equal to 4 hours of sleep. And if I color it in fully, it means that I got more than or equal to 5 hours of sleep. And that's just my personal threshold of the level that I can function at. Everybody's different. And so you might want to have the full, did I sleep for, 8 to 10 hours, or did I get less than that? So it's all based on your preference. But this is just a fairly simple way of tracking. The nice thing about the sleep setup is that you can color it in the way you want. You can do it in actual colors. Sometimes you may just want to know how you slept in the week overall, and so you might just have it as a weekly, week 1, week 2, week 3, and then color it in or design it the way that you want in order to keep track of it. You don't have to do it daily, and you don't have to do it this way. This is just one example. And that's the great thing about this, is that you can fully customize it to what works for you. And as you can see, because I was using a Sharpie pen, it did bleed through my page a little bit, and that's something to be aware of, but you can always cover that up with stickers or pictures, or glue another piece of paper down on that so that you don't have to see the bleed through marks. So this page is going to be a mood tracker. Ta-da! So you've probably seen this on Pinterest, this kind of design with shelves and books and plants. I don't know who started it, so I didn't want to add any links for it because I couldn't figure out who the original idea came from. But what you do is, for this kind of more complicated, creative style of mood tracker, I just drew the shelves and the books and everything, and then I put the date on them. So you see the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on, and those represent the days. And so when I go in to color them later to represent my moods, I'll just color that whole object in that has the number on it. And then at the end of the month, I'll be able to look at it and decide, like, oh, this was a really good month, or maybe this was kind of a blah month, or wow, this was not a good month. So I just go in and outline it so I can see it more easily. And then at the bottom, I just put down that it is a mood tracker. And then I have my color palette so that I know which colors represent which moods. And I highly recommend, if you have a bunch of color pencils or markers or whatever you're using to do this, that you leave them out, because if you put them all back in the box, it might take a while to find the exact colors that you used, which is what has happened to me now. So, word of advice, just do that. And the chunky cat drawing I have is just a drawing that I did of my cat Whisper. and I just thought it would add some cheer to the image. It's good vibes for your self-care. So again, with the moods, like with the sleep tracker or any tracker that you do, you can be as simple or as complex as you want. I chose 3 different moods: a happy mood, which was the check mark, a meh mood, which was the dash, and a bad mood, which could be anxiety, depression, or just not even up to par with meh. But I've seen people get really into it, so they have like very happy, very sad, depressed, anxious, angry, all the human emotions that you can think of. They'll have a different color for it, and they will go in and put those in there. Some people even split it within the day, and so they'll say half of today I felt really angry, and then the other half of the day I was fine, or I was very happy and then I was sad. So you can do it again any way you want. I know I'm going to repeat myself throughout this, but it is true. It's fully customizable, and there's all kinds of inspiration that you can find, whether through a bullet journal library book that goes into different ways you can do it, or a YouTube video, or just looking at Pinterest or Google Images, however you find your inspiration. This month, a lot of my days were not great because my cat was really sick. So a lot of my books and different plants and things on here are yellow, and that is why. He's doing much better now, but that's why that is. And also, not everything you draw has to be part of your mood board, I guess. Just like I have a book that's color red, I drew red on a cactus flower, and it doesn't mean anything, it's just a color that's in there. So that's also an option. At this point in the video, you might be thinking to yourself, but why should I even take the time to track my moods or track my habits? And I mean, it really depends on why you're doing this. You might be tracking your moods because you need to figure out if something's triggering you. For example, maybe you see for a week you got really bad sleep, and then for that whole week you were in a bad mood. Maybe there's a correlation there. Or maybe you just want to see how often you're really doing something, like drinking water or going for a walk or doing the things that you enjoy. And then you might realize, oh, I feel better when I do these things, or I don't feel better when I do these things. And so that's why it can be important and really fun to learn about yourself through self-tracking. So now I'm going to draw a super simple habit tracker grid, and it's literally just 30 or 31 squares, or 28 or 29 if you're in February, and you can color them in to say that you did the habit that you are trying to track, or you can put an X or a check mark, or however you want to do it. This first one that I'm doing is for meditation, for me personally, and I do usually meditate at least 10 minutes every day. I feel like I might go insane without it, and for me that's just listening to an ASMR video and doodling, or just sitting in the quiet for 10 minutes. And I didn't make it perfect looking because I don't want people to be discouraged and think like, oh, I shouldn't be doing this bullet journal stuff because I don't have time to take out a ruler and do it 100%. That's not what this is about. This is about just tracking your self-care needs and your habits and your moods. So if you don't feel like taking out a ruler and measuring everything out perfectly, don't worry about it. Just do it in a way that you're comfortable with. This is super wonky looking, but it works for me. And so this is what I'm going with. And as you can see, I didn't put numbers in the boxes because I knew that I was going from the top up date-wise. So I knew it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. This other way that I'm showing the grid is for cleaning. And so for me, when I think of cleaning, I only count the deep cleans where I really go in and just clean everything. And so I might do that about once a week. I do a little cleaning throughout the week, but deep cleans about once a week. And so for that, I just used X's. And so if I did it, I put an X. If I didn't, then there's nothing there. Easy to see, easy to track. And again, you can track any of your habits just like you would track the sleep or the mood. You can do it however you want. If you want it to be more complex, that is totally up to you. Or if you want it super simple, that's also totally up to you. I did go ahead and do one habit where I used a ruler. Could not find a ruler, so I used an old calculator I have. And I just named this one Eating Well as an example. I know with COVID, we've all had a struggle. But for this one, I just drew some little dots. And if I ate well that day, then I would circle it or color it in. You could do this different ways. You could cross it out, however you want. This last way that I'm going to show you is looking at it from a weekly basis of all of the different things that you're tracking. Some people, rather than have all the different grids, all the different things to color in, they just put it as a weekly, and then they have everything for the week there, and then they check it off if they did it or exit out if they did not. And so this is just an example of how you could smoosh everything together to make it on one page, and maybe that's more manageable for you, and that's totally fine. So of course, as a librarian, I have read every day. And again, this is just an example. Thank you so much for watching, and remember to take care of yourselves.